Welcome, everyone. Glad to have you here. I'm here with Nick Gipson today from Gipson Cyber. Nick is going to give you a lot of great information today, and my name's Coach Hess. I've been working with businesses for the last 8 years as a business coach, and one of the things that always seems to come up around the holiday seasons, Nick, is all of a sudden I start getting these messages that are like, hey, you got a refund coming. This package wasn't delivered on time. Make sure you link here. Call me there. Do this, do that. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what's going on? It looks kind of official from Amazon. Might even have a logo. Like, what's going on with that kind of stuff? Because I don't feel good about it.
You shouldn't feel good about it. It means that you have information out there that is being utilized for nefarious purposes, meaning that someone has your email, your phone number, or something like that, and they're trying to get at you in some way. How they got that information, who exactly knows? In this day and age, your information has been lost and leaked more times than you will ever know. So it's really about just protecting yourself and being aware that that sort of stuff is happening. If you're not expecting a package, if you're not expecting whatever it is that it's trying to make you do, always that's where I call it spidey senses. That's where the spidey senses should kick in and go, this something isn't right here.
So let me get this right. If a hacker's coming after me and gives me something to do, if I never do anything, nothing will happen. But if I do something, I'm going to trigger a problem. And I guess
Yes.
what you're saying is no, not to trigger that problem by recognizing what we see.
Yes, yeah, very much so. It's very much like when you accidentally pick up a spam call and then you get spam calls every day from that number for the next 6 months. It's the same thing. Once you interact with it, they know that you are there and you are become a target. If you don't interact with it, they don't know if it's a bad number, if it's not a real number, or just no one's interacted with it.
It seems like there's a certain need to spread that information for people that have corporation companies because I'm sure that it's not, everybody can be affected by this kind of thing, right? And so,
Yes.
any thoughts
And
on what we should be doing to prevent scams inside of a company? Any techniques or thoughts that we should put in place?
yes, the number one thing that any company should be doing is user training. You need to be telling your users what to look for and what to do when they spot something, how to respond to it, who to contact, what the process is when that happens. For example, if they get a phishing email in, what do they do with it? Do they send it to IT? Do they report it some way? What do they do with it? Or do they just delete it? Having those standard operating procedures in and training your users is by far the most valuable thing that you could do for any business.
Standing, yeah, all my years at Halliburton and so on. I mean, I've always wanted to circulate that. Good time to be thinking about that right now, is what you're telling us, Nick. I hear you.
Yes.
Hey, how about when we're out traveling around? We're out there and I've got my laptop with me. I'm going into a nice little place in the airport. It's got a Wi-Fi connect and so on, and I'm going to hook up and send some financials around and kind of get my bank statements cleaned up before I go to the holiday, jump on the plane. What do I got to worry about?
You have to worry about moving through other networks, unknown networks that you are not familiar with. So when I'm out in and about, I never connect my phone to a public Wi-Fi directly, if that makes any sense. So what I do is I connect to it and then use a VPN if I need to. My first line of defense is always using cellular data, my cell phone, using a hotspot if I need to, or just using my cell phone in general. That's my own network that I carry around with me.
Right.
So it's a lot harder for them to break into that. Where you get into trouble is when you're trying to connect to the coffee house or the airport Wi-Fi or all this other thing, or trying to open up Bluetooth connections to other devices that you don't know about in the area, or even having Bluetooth on during those situations.
Right.
I always turn my Bluetooth off unless I really need it while I'm like on the plane or something like that. If I'm just moving through an airport, I have it off because it's just a avenue of attack that is unnecessary for me to have
So
on.
if somebody does make an attempt at attack at a Bluetooth connection or those type of things, how fast can they get stuff? How fast does it happen, man? What happens?
I mean, they can get instant data from your phone. It's very much like you're carrying around a Wi-Fi router at all times, and they're just connecting. You're connecting to open Wi-Fi. That's basically what you're doing with your phone. It's called a personal area network. So it's within 3 meters of your person, and That's what Bluetooth is. You walk around with this little network that you're moving around with, and anyone can connect to it.
That just blows my mind when I start thinking about iterative AI and where things are going.
Mhm.
To that bubble around me you just described. But isn't that something? It's just like a network. Got to pay attention to that. Hey, the third thing on it, maybe is kind of on my mind. December's financial season. I mean,
Yes.
we got bonuses, we got donations, we've got last minute invoices, all kinds of reasons for attackers probably to strike, because they like money first and foremost, of course. What's your perspective on that, in terms of the financial side from a business email compromise potential or anything like that? Any thoughts there?
Yes, between November 1st and January 1st, I like to call it hack season. It's the number one time when people and attacks are happening. Why? Because what you just mentioned, money is moving. When money is moving, cyber criminals are moving. Just like regular criminals, or when you're trying to move a prisoner from one prison to another, they are much more vulnerable while they're in transit than they are at the two prisons.
Interesting analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same exact way. So when during this time, you should be on high alert. All of your users should be on high alert for phishing scams. You will see an increase in phishing scams across all of your platforms: email, phone, WhatsApp, Facebook. I mean, my wife has been getting lately, "Hey, I want to be your sugar daddy" on Facebook, and I'm like, that sounds like a good deal. You should take that.
Oh my.
Um, and that sort of stuff. It's increasing every single one of my clients increases at least 50% in their phishing scams between now and the end of the year.
Right. So almost, why we need to highlight this program, and hey, let's pay attention for sure. Is it feasible that people might put standard operating procedures in to not bring on new vendors or not do donations or not do anything during that time because of the potential risk?
Yes, in large companies, they do what's called a network freeze during this time, where there are no IT changes that are happening. There's no penetration tests going on. There's nothing large happening because one, there's a lot of activity happening at the end of the year, and two, because they don't want something to be if something's amiss happening, they don't want to have to be like, oh, well, that could be part of the engineering that's happening. It could be part of the development that's happening, and
Right.
then we write it off as just that.
And boom.
So we want to keep everything quiet so that when noise does happen, we can hear it immediately.
Well, jumping from the corporate vision, right, which we're focused on there, into kind of our own personal lives around Christmas. We get all kinds of presents, and we've got kids with new machines and all kinds of IoT devices and so on. Is there anything we should be paying attention to around all of that coming into our homes and starting up with, multi-gaming factor? We're playing games with kids all over the world. Who knows what's going on with all that? Any thoughts there, Nick, of kind of advice on that? Because it's going to happen.
Yes, and coach, I think we could even do a whole another session just on this topic alone because it's a very vulnerable area right now. There are parental controls for these devices, but they are all individual and they are all hard to set up. It's very much like trying to use a computer in the early 90s. It's not very intuitive. Some features are just not even built that you want to have, and all this sort of thing. So, for example, I wanted to stop my kids from watching YouTube on regular parent non-child YouTube on their devices, and specifically the Fire Stick on Amazon Fire Stick. Well, to do that, you need to have parental control on the Fire Stick device itself, and then on each application. So YouTube, Netflix, Disney Plus. So you have to have codes on every single one of those. So
Wow.
basically, it's
Who's
like
going to
back
take
in
the
the day
time to
when you had
do that?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And then you have to manage it. Like it's a pain. It's a pain for me to manage.
Right, right. Well, yeah. So the average Joe, we're just going to ignore and go on.
Yeah.
What is the vulnerabilities within, what's the bad side of some of these Nintendo potential or whatever the game might be?
Yes, I mean you're already have you're I'm seeing a lot of things about things like Minecraft and Roblox where they're being infiltrated by predators, by people wanting to show explicit content, by people wanting to meet up with your kids
Right.
and all these sort of things. They've infiltrated these online places where they know that children go. So you have games like Fortnite and other things like that that are prowling with these these predators, and parents don't really know that. They just kind of give them the devices, and they there's no
Well,
other way to find it or check it or monitor it in any way.
and nobody wants that, so we've got to make sure we're educating folks, about that whole process.
Yes. Software solutions that help with that, that kind of, help with the tracking and social media monitoring and sort of things like that. But it doesn't go as far as every single device on across every single platform and every single application and every single game.
Right.
Parents have to be aware of what their children are using and then do their own research to find out the parental controls for those things.
It's one of those, don't throw it over the fence, let the kid go crazy and have fun, and rather pay attention to where he's going, what he's doing. Learn the game with him. What the heck? I mean, that's a good opportunity
Yes,
for us to connect with our kids, and it's so important. Hey,
100%.
kind of one other one that comes up is this whole voice scamming thing, where somebody gets the same voice of, say, my grandson, who lives in Mexico or something, that all of a sudden I'm getting a voicemail from him saying I'm in jail and I need a bunch of money and here's the deal. Those have gone on for quite a while, but there's certainly, I think, the uptick of those around traveling time and where we're going. Any thoughts on those kind of scams and what to look for, Nick?
Yes, those are definitely prevalent scams and they're increasing every day. There are times this time of year is especially when people are traveling, like you were saying, is a time when that happens. And then when kids are going off to college or something along those lines is also another time. So basically right now, the fall time frame. What happens is that you can clone anyone's voice. It's a free application online that they do free service as long as you have 30 seconds of the audio. So they could take 30 seconds of this podcast that we're putting on right now and clone our voices.
Oh,
And
God.
I actually teach that in a cybersecurity introduction to cybersecurity course. I teach it as a way to say, hey, this stuff is so easy that I can do it in about 2 minutes.
Right. Wow.
Then alls I do is I wait till 3 a.m. I call your number when I know you're not going to pick up. I leave that message as a voicemail and tell you no, you don't go to the cops. Call the Bitcoin. If they don't verify, that's how they get them. The best thing to combat that is verification. Never just take things like that nowadays at face value.
Right.
If your daughter or son, it sounds like they're calling you because they are in distress and they say don't call the cops, call the dang cops or
Call them.
contact or call them.
Yeah.
Facebook message them, call one of their friends, find another communication method. So I always tell them use a communication method that is different than what you have been given. So
Right.
if they're calling you, email your daughter or Facebook message them or
Ah,
WhatsApp
good
message
advice. Yeah.
different than what they're being because that's a compromise. If that's already been compromised, then you need to find a different way to do it. There has been a number of different they focus on affluent people, like people that have a lot of money and they do it to their
Sure.
children, but there's been a lot of fake kidnappings that have been happening and it's all around them. Just they'll just go onto their social media platform, pull 30 seconds of audio from them because kids nowadays just willingly give up everything to social media, and
Boom.
boom, that's all. That's
I've
all you
heard
need.
of those stories oftentimes, and I'm sure we all have. But boy, we want to be heads up. I think the main thing there is that never approve payments on live calls or texts. Just never do that.
Yes,
Uh,
trust but verify.
Yeah. Well, shoot, those were five great topics we went over there in a pretty short order, Nick. Nick, I think the checklist of what's going on or really what's happening. I know you run a program to help people get prepared. Maybe you can tell everybody a little bit about that and how to get connected with you if they want to do a quick analysis so that they're prepared.
Sure, yes, yeah. I run a 60-minute complimentary security assessment slash audit. You'll walk away with at least some recommendations on how you can go forward and be better secure and know where you're at currently and where you need to go. At least you can get a hold of me through my website gipsoncyber.com or via LinkedIn at Nick Gipson or Gipson Cyber LinkedIn page.
I'll make sure I post to GipsonCyber.com text when we post this up. But no doubt, take the time, folks, to get yourself prepared. You don't need the back end of this. So it's just a little bit of preparation on the front end can save you a whole bunch of problems, and they're coming. And they're getting more creative with AI all the time. These hackers know what's going on. You can't be too careful. So we want to keep you safe. That's why we put this show together for you. And thank you for attending. Any last comments, Nick?
Thank you for having me, Coach. It's been wonderful. I really enjoy this. I hope we can maybe do it again sometime.
Right. Well, you've got those 5 points for cyber connection now. Let's get people on that, and we'll do some more and keep bringing it to you. Thank you
Awesome.
for attending, folks, and have a great day.